Hey all, want to say hello to Craig and Mike, and say hello to all my friends at CrossFit as well. Tony Ricci here again from My Competitive Life. Come by and visit us. But here to talk about cross sticks. We at My Competitive Life have been using the sticks, well, not exclusively, largely for our fighters, in particular our stand-up fighters. We've developed a host of metabolic conditioning circuits as well as striking specific circuits that are working very well for the stand-up fighter, and soon to develop some for the grappler and judo player and all of the grappling arts. Additionally, what I want to talk to you about today, what we love about core sticks is the interdisciplinary variability. So we're going to create a little program today that may be effective for the CrossFit enthusiast or the individual that is interested in competing in CrossFit. What's great about the core sticks is if you can't get to your CrossFit training facility, or if it's snowing out and you can't get to the track that day, essentially in a 5 foot by 4 foot footprint, we can do an entire conditioning program with some movements that are quite specific to the events in CrossFit. So we're going to demonstrate them along with Melanie, who's my assistant today, and world champion kickboxer and boxer Chris Algieri. We'll go through a full training circuit that we think you'll find very helpful for CrossFit training. And all my kudos and accolades go out to CrossFit because I've become a big fan and certainly enjoy watching that on ESPN. So let's get to work and use our sticks. Thanks. The first movement we're going to do is, it's non-specific in nature, but we call it the jackrabbit, in which we're warming up upper and lower extremities simultaneously. We do this for about 2 minutes, independent of what the discipline is. If it's boxing, if it is CrossFit training, is that excellent upper and lower extremity warm-up. Neurologically, everything gets warmed up as well as the cardiovascular system. Goal here, keep upper and lower extremities moving. You can see the footwork works back and forth along with the rods. The lighter rod is used, and to sustain this for 2 minutes is quite taxing, but an excellent warm-up. It's movement number 1. This is called the flings. It's also a non-specific warm-up. Very challenging neurologically. It may look easy with the sticks, but it's actually pretty challenging. CrossFit individuals do like both neurological challenges as well as physiologically conditioning challenges, and this is both. 2 minutes with the flings. Great movement. Okay, we've moved into movement 3. It is the lateral hops, plyometric in nature. Again, still part of the warm-up, back and forth, up and down, upper and lower extremity. This is done for 2 minutes consecutively. We are now going into a 6-minute warm-up. Excellent movement, plyo in nature, great on the cardiovascular system, as well as local muscle endurance too. Okay, so we've done and completed the non-specific but full body warm-up, and now Melanie's actually going to start the movements and the conditioning circuit that's more specific to the CrossFit enthusiast or certainly the CrossFit competitor. We're going to start with what we call the 400 meter. The 400 meter goes all out for a minute or a minute and change, and Melanie's going to demonstrate that for us right now. Objective here is to open up stride length, have the arm movement longer, much longer than we saw in the jackrabbit in the warm-up. Almost as if now we're sprinting the full 400 around the track like it's done in the CrossFit competition. You try this for a minute change, quite taxing. So after a minute and change of the 400 meter, which is again very taxing, we're going to call this movement swims, which hopefully would have some carryover to the actual swimming events. Perhaps not freestyle, but nevertheless. And even some carryover to the snatch because of its triple extension movement. And Melanie's going to demonstrate that. This, again, can be done for a minute. A couple of things to keep into consideration, that the rods are of different resistance. You can change them accordingly, and you can adjust whether or not you want to do this to repetitions or timing. But Melanie will now demonstrate the swims, which are explosive in nature. There you go. Good. You see the triple extension, the arm movement, full body. To reiterate, Melanie's in very good condition. Ran the 50 through the 400 in college, and simultaneously is actually getting a pretty good conditioning session even in just demonstrating. But good for the CrossFit athlete. All right, after the swims, we're going to go into, I guess, what we'd call wall climbs. We haven't officially named all these movements yet, but nevertheless, here we're trying to mimic one generating power up a wall. Climbing, perhaps it'd be advantageous for rope climbing as well. So Melanie's going to demonstrate this movement. Again, high velocity, a lot of power. Goal is to kick that leg up while simultaneously pulling down on the medium rods to the stronger rods. Go, Mel. Exactly. Generating a lot of power. It's done 1 minute each leg. Awesome. You see triple extension, that foot will leave the ground. She drives that leg up immediately while pulling as hard as she can. For her body weight, this is a lot of resistance, so she's generating tremendous power. 1 minute each leg. Okay, we just finished wall climbs. That is 1 minute each leg, a total of 2 minutes. Extremely challenging. Right now what we're doing is just going to more of the deadlift style from the ground. Another triple extension explosion movement that may carry over in the early phases of the clean, the snatch, or even in the medicine ball lifts, or some of the jumping movements that are required whenever climbing. All right, so Melanie's going to demonstrate the deadlift high velocity triple extension from the ground. And that is it. Beautiful. See that speed and power? That's what we're interested in. If the rod and resistance is too heavy, it'll be difficult to sustain the duration. But if you're looking for a minute and a half, or up to 2 minutes, we recommend the lighter rods on this. We're about 15 to 20 minutes into the entire workout if you count everything. And the stick exchange is easy once you know location. And there she goes, keeping the speed up and velocity. Great. Okay, we're going to be transitioning from Melanie to world champion kickboxer and 15-0 professional boxer, and my friend and partner Chris Algieri. He's my partner at MCLife, and we're going to be showing you some more additional movements, again CrossFit specific. Let's keep into consideration that this is one contiguous workout. We are not breaking it up. We're transitioning from what Melanie did right into what we're doing now, and it goes straight through. So Chris is going to get ready to show you the push-up with the hip rotation and lateral flexion on it. Okay, these are excellent. It's a basic conditioning movement, but with the core sticks, they work spectacular. You have several options. You can hold, isolate that movement, bring it on out. You do these on time, perhaps 30 seconds each way, 45 seconds each arm, and then switch over. You can also alternate. I know that CrossFit athletes would probably like alternating from side to side, but you have all the upper, lower extremities involved here. Great movement, and there's the transition. And again, this becomes real easy once you have figured out, written down as we have, where each stick goes. You do that in advance, put that stick in, and the only rest time is the transitioning of the sticks. All right, now we're transitioning from the push-up, plank, if you will. Again, I haven't really named any of these movements formally, to what we'll call a sit-up with the medicine ball here. This is going to mimic, to some extent, the throwing event in CrossFit, where we take those medicine balls and haul them. I like this movement, quite challenging. And Chris is going to show you now. If you have a medicine ball, local, keep it in between the legs, and you're firing up. All right, so we are now mimicking the legs locking into a bench, the upper extremities firing out. Fantastic movement. This is challenging. You try this for a minute, you're going to get conditioned. And that's actually textbook form. Beautiful. Right after the sit-up movement that you saw, we're going to go to the muscle-up. This is an excellent movement. This is meant to mimic, to some extent, the muscle-ups that are involved in CrossFit competition. I developed this movement from a standing position, but then Chris later went on to use it from the kneeling position, which is excellent, so we're going to show you both. One thing to keep into consideration, again, rod density will vary. I should say rod resistance will vary. You can do the muscle up for longer durations, 30 seconds to 1 minute, or you can take the rods with the greater resistance and do repetitions. Work to 8, 10, 12 repetitions to assist in achieving your 7 repetition requirement for the muscle up in CrossFit competition. And we're shown from the knee too as well on that, Chris. So these could be modified and done whichever manner the CrossFit athlete desires. And he's making it look significantly easier than they are. They're pretty taxing. That's perfect. These are the lighter rods. He has the capacity to use a much heavier resistance rod like blue or yellow. Nevertheless, right now we're showing you to demonstrate in high volume. All right, muscle ups are finished. We're moving now to another movement in which we're lifting and rotating. Again, I haven't coined an official name for them, so you CrossFit folks are welcome to do such. But here we're going to work the movement that would be a bit more comparable to the medicine ball cleans. And Chris is going to demonstrate that now. Up and out. Yeah, beautiful. That's a good fire. There's a host of competitive movements that this has a carryover for, certainly for combat sports, but great for the CrossFit athlete too. Okay, we're continuing the work core. This particular movement you'll see on our boxing circuit that we have developed, and you can get that at My Competitive Life or at CoreStix.com as well. We've had that put up there. So here we go. This is a rotation. Chris is going to demonstrate firing down. Tremendous power. And now we're using the yellow rod. Beautiful. All right, we are down to the last two movements. We're probably about 20 to 25 minutes into this training session. Again, it depends upon the duration, the repetition range in which you choose. As a CrossFit athlete, you could make your own determinations on which would be most effective for your own training program and how to get the best carryover. This is kind of called just simply a squat press, and it may be the more excruciating of all the movements. We remain at 90 degrees and go into push press format. You try this for a minute, extremely challenging. You can go with greater load, or you can stay down there for a minute and change. Either way, great movement, excellent carryover to any CrossFit activity, and very challenging. We're down to our final movement. Keep into consideration, we've shown, maybe about 10 to 15 movements here, and there's really endless or limitless possibilities with the core sticks. As long as the body can move in a certain direction, the sticks will go with you. So you have a host of different workouts you can develop here. We kind of call these the handstand push-up, and the objective here is to try to carry over to the handstand. These are pretty challenging. You can go these by repetition, and you can do these off of a little bit of a platform, but they can help the handstand push-up, help balance, and Chris even has the capacity to dip that to almost a vertical position, but these are awesome. This may work on repetition, 10 to 15, and then switch the leg, go 10 to 15 again, take a few seconds rest, and back in again. And for today, that'll conclude our Core Stix workout that is developed for the CrossFit athlete.